everyone, I'm Tereza Yerimyan, Government Affairs Director at the ANCA.
And I'm Elizabeth Chouldjian. I handle communications here at the ANCA. And we're here today to thank all the ANCA Rapid Responders and pro-Artsakh and Armenia advocates for your leadership in ensuring that over 100 members of Congress co-signed the Congressional Armenian letter to the Biden administration.
In just a little bit, we'll actually go over the letter and each policy priority that's outlined for the Biden administration.
Then we'll talk about what's next in our advocacy efforts and the important role that you play in ensuring that we strengthen our pro-Artsakh and pro-Armenia voice here in Washington, D.C. and in cities and states across the United States.
The Congressional Armenian Caucus leadership, along with the 100+ members of Congress supporting this letter, outlined very specific policy priorities for the Biden administration, beginning with addressing the untenable security concerns in Artsakh created by the most recent attacks and amounts of aggression by Turkey and Azerbaijan. The leadership outlined the necessity for the U.S. to re-engage in the OSCE Minsk group in order to ensure that Turkey, Russia, and Azerbaijan do not dictate the fate of Artsakh and the Armenian people in the Caucasus. It further goes into the fact that the U.S. must assist in the safe return of all Armenian prisoners of war. The letter then outlines the need to hold the aggressors, Turkey and Azerbaijan, accountable, and we can do this by stopping the waiver to Section 907 of the Freedom Support Act and making sure that Azerbaijan no longer receives any more military assistance through Section 333. Separately, the letter also outlines the need to address Turkey's destabilizing actions in the Caucasus, in Cyprus, and in Libya, and to make sure that they are sanctioned appropriately on these actions. The 100+ supporters of this letter make it very clear to the Biden administration that the U.S., along with nations all around the globe, must recognize Artsakh's right to self-determination and that they must be at the negotiations table in order to make sure that there is an actual lasting peace. Then we address aid. Here, members of Congress are asking for the U.S. government to allocate robust levels of humanitarian assistance to the region of Artsakh and Armenia. The ANCA has been and will continue to advocate for $250 million in assistance for the region. In the coming weeks, we're actually going to be reaching out to you in terms of this aid and how you can help us establish and reach our goal to reach that marker so that people can start rebuilding their lives in Artsakh. Members of Congress also urged the Biden administration to continue to strengthen the strategic U.S.-Armenia relationship and to ensure that the U.S. is also going to provide economic support for Armenia. And members of Congress urged the Biden administration to follow the lead and sentiment on the 116th Congress and 49 states in the U.S. to properly recognize and acknowledge the Armenian Genocide.
With the myriad of issues on the congressional agenda, it's your letters, your phone calls, your tweets, your meetings that ensured that over 100 members of Congress co-signed the Congressional Armenian Caucus letter to the Biden administration and ensured that the pro-Artsakh and pro-Armenia policy priorities were heard loud and clear. Over 40,000 ANCA Rapid Responders sent letters on the first days of the appeal to co-sign the Congressional Armenian Caucus letter. Add to that the thousands that came to the ANCA Action Platform and went to the congressional websites themselves and took action on them at different congressional pages. And you can see the level of support that reached congressional offices. And to ensure that your voice is heard in every single office, my colleague Tereza followed up on each and every one of those letters with the congressional offices through phone calls and meetings. In addition to the letters, phone calls are an incredibly effective way to reach members of Congress and share your pro-Artsakh priorities. And here, the ANCA's Quick Connect system was there for thousands of advocates to be directly connected to their member of Congress with one simple call. In addition to that, the ANCA sent out hundreds of thousands of emails to advocates with sample phone scripts, making it easier than ever to contact both their congressional district offices and the Washington, D.C. offices. Thousands took to Twitter to share their pro-Artsakh priorities, and the ANCA's congressional Twitter platform was there with sample tweets ready to take action at moment's notice. And finally, in addition to calling and writing and tweeting, Armenian American advocates and pro-Artsakh supporters met with members of Congress and staff through Zoom with our local ANCs, with our regional offices, and working with Tereza from our team to ensure that that personal connection is made with these congressional offices. If you're interested in making pro-Artsakh, pro-Armenia advocacy even stronger here in Washington, D.C., and in states and cities across the U.S., contact the ANCA. Message us on our social media platforms, give us a call at 202-775-1918, or email us at anca@anca.org. And we'll put you in touch with the regional and local teams that will help us all take pro-Artsakh and pro-Armenia advocacy to the next level.
So there's one message we want to leave you with today. It's that our pro-Armenian and pro-Artsakh policy priorities are pushed forward by our strong grassroots advocates all around the nation. So you must be wondering, what's next?
Visit anca.org/Biden, and you'll be able to thank the members of Congress who co-signed the Congressional Armenian Caucus to the Biden administration and urge the rest to take another look at the important pro-Artsakh and pro-Armenia policies that we're moving forward. You'll be able to write letters, you'll be able to make calls, you'll have sample tweets available to you to take these actions.
Now keep in mind, the 117th Congress has been in session for less than 60 days, and in that time frame, we've been able to garner over 100 co-sponsors for just this letter, outlining the priorities for the 117th Congress. In the coming weeks, we'll be reaching back out to you on how we're going to pursue each and every one of these policy priorities and what pieces of legislation we're going to pursue them in.
And on each of these different issues, there will be additional opportunities to write, to call, to tweet, and to meet with members of Congress and their staff on these issues. And in the interim, if you haven't done so already, please take a moment to become an ANCA Rapid Responder. By going to anca.org/rapid, you'll be able to give the ANCA informed consent to make sure that your voice is heard at the first opportunity on each one of these pro-Artsakh and pro-Armenia priorities.
Thank you, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you again.